Hello, here we are on Friday night, and most people have a takeaway, but this is the Wood Food Guide, so we're going to have a healthy take-in. So what we're going to try and create is we're going to try and create a healthy curry. So for this, I'm going to use Greek yogurt, and that's going to create my sauce. I've got some very nice boneless salmon fillets there. What I'm going to do is just check, make sure there is no bones. I'm going to turn it over, sea salt, get the pan, which is this pan over there, which is one of the Ingenio pans from Tefal. I find them very good because they have this separate detachable handle, and that makes it really good for stacking. I've got some onions, I've got some prawns, some passata, and I'm just going to go through the whole process of how I create my healthy zero yogurt curry. So there's the rice as well, which I've left out. That'll just go literally 2 minutes in the microwave. There's no point making loads of rice. It's just really easy to make. So I'm now going to get the salmon on the go, chop up some mushrooms, some onions, and get that frying. So that's what you'll see next. Just wanted to give you a guide when you're dealing with salmon or any fish that has any sort of bones, or likely that the packaging says that it's been filleted and it's got no bones. Best way to do is take your fingers, rub it along. Take your finger and thumb, rub it along the side of the actual fillet, just to check. So I have checked this through earlier, and what I found is I found this little pesky critter. As you can imagine, any one of your guests wouldn't be very happy if they found a bone in the salmon. So what I'm going to do now is just turn my salmon over, showing the skin. Then I'm going to take some sea salt, apply it to the salmon fillets, and what we're going to do is we're actually just going to blacken the skin, so that'll make it nice and crispy, and you can use that. Sometimes I serve it with the skin on, sometimes I serve it with the skin off, and I just use the salmon skin once it's crisped up, just as a bit of texture and crisps over the top. So now I'm going to get the pan ready, put the salmon in, put my usual seasoning over the top, and then put a lid over, because it'll cook from the bottom, then cook from the top, and you'll end up with perfectly cooked salmon, where it should be just flaky, and you don't want it dry. So this is my pan now up to temperature. You can see just a little bit of smoking. I've just put some veggie oil in there. Now I'm gonna apply my salmon fillets. Then I'm going to use my usual seasoning just over the top and apply the lid. That's my seasoning added to the salmon over the top. Again, as I always say, I wish you had smelly vision, because it smells absolutely divine. I'm just going to apply the top, and then every now and then we'll just check the texture of the salmon to say whether it's done or not. So that's on with the lid. Now we have to fry off our onions. The onions I've chopped just like half semicircles. I've left them about 2 or 3 millimeters in thickness, because I just like a bit of texture. You can finely chop them however you like them, but in this household, me and my good lady, we actually like a bit of texture. So I'm now going to start frying off the onions, and then once I've fried off the onions, about halfway through, once they're starting to look a bit translucent, I'm then going to add my mushrooms, turn up the heat, and just get some colouring into the pan. If you slightly char the onions, this is actually good, because it will give you some really good flavour and texture. Makes it taste more like an authentic Asian stroke Indian dish. So my pan is on there. It's just on level 7, and that, as you can see, There's some smoke in there, so it'll really make it nice and smoky. But it also steams the fish, so you get a nice, you don't burn the bottom of the fish because you've using the fish skin on with the rock salt or sea salt as I use. So just about fry off the onions and mushrooms. So I've been cooking the onions now for about 2 or 3 minutes. As you say, I've got a bit of coloration to them. This is what the salmon is looking like now. It's probably been cooking, I would say, for about 5 or 6 minutes. I don't give timings out with any of these videos, and the reason for that, it is literally, I think the food tells you when it's ready itself. Depending on the thickness of the salmon or thickness of the meat, it really is down to, I think, looking with your eyes. And sometimes you can give it the salmon a feel, and it'll either bounce back or it won't. And it's just a case of experience. So onions are starting to look good and smell good now. So chopped some mushrooms, as you can see here. I don't like using button mushrooms. I don't think they bring anything to the dish whatsoever. So I like using oyster mushrooms or brown gill mushrooms. So looks like there's a ton there, but those will absolutely shrink down to next to nothing. When you do put them in the pan, probably worth turning the heat up. I'm just turning this up to 8. I'm not going to turn them too much because, again, as I've said on many other videos, if you mess around with mushrooms too much, they release a lot of liquid too quickly and you end up with quite a mushy consistency. So I'll continue to fry the mushrooms and onions together, and then we'll move on to the next stage of the dish. So as it's Friday night and I've been at work all week and I just want to try and create this curry. As I say, it's probably taken about 20-25 minutes to create the whole curry. I'm going to use these curry powder from Tesco's. I found this is the absolute best flavour for making this particular curry. It's a salmon curry obviously, but I think it's a bit more like a Rogan Josh. It does have tomato passata. So this mild curry powder I'm just going to add to a ramekin. There's my ramekin here. I'm going to virtually fill that ramekin, add a bit of oil, add a bit of water, make a paste. Once the onions and mushrooms are cooked, I'm going to take them out, fry off the curry paste that I'm going to make just out of water and oil, and then that will basically release the flavours for the curry. That's my curry paste made. As I say, it was just half full with the tandoori paste. I like them a bit more spicier, but you obviously have to pitch it to your audience, and my audience likes it quite mild. So for this evening, so added I would say 2 or 3 teaspoons of oil, about a tablespoon of water mixed with the mild tandoori curry powder, and that's ready to go in the pan. If you look at the mushrooms now, they've dramatically reduced. I would say the salmon is now cooked perfectly. Just going to turn that off and let it rest while we finish off the ingredients for the sauce. We've added the paste that I pre-made earlier, fried it all off, re-added the mushrooms and the onions, and now I'm going to add my passata. And believe it or not, once the passata's stirred in, I'm just going to let that cool off a little, because when you go to add the zero yogurt, you've got to make sure it's at just a tepid temperature. If it's not at the tepid temperature, you will have an instant fail and you will have curdling. So I'm taking that off the heat. You can see now that's my base virtually ready. Just gonna taste. And that is at the perfect temperature. ready to add our zero yogurt. Once you've added the zero yogurt, you've got to bring it slowly up to temperature. As the zero yogurt, added to the sauce. Obviously forgot to put my teeth in tonight. So as you can see, it's just mixing quite nicely. And now what we're going to do is just put the hob onto low and just slowly bring it, not to the boil, just so it's warm, or should I say ready, like you would normally eat your curry sauce temperature. And then what you're going to do is decant that over your rice and then place the salmon fillets on top. So next stage will be virtually finished and presenting. So see you in a little bit. Didn't mention is before you add the zero yogurt, and again your prior preparation prevents poor performance, I would always suggest that you take your zero yogurt out of the fridge maybe for 2 hours to an hour before you cook, just to bring it up to room temperature, just so it doesn't split instantly. This is me adding some cooked prawns, and as I bring up the sauce, I'm just going to gently heat the prawns up to temperature as well. What I've noticed is I want my sauce to be quite loose like this, because once you add it to your whole grain rice, the whole grain rice virtually soaks it up and you get a really nice consistency and thickness. I think there's a posh word for that. I think it's viscosity. It's a nice word, isn't it? So just gonna stick my microwave rice, the whole grain microwave rice, in the microwave, and then we'll be plating up. Another little tip that I've discovered, before you're putting your rice into the microwave, just give it a good old squeeze all the way. That'll break up any bits that have been stuck together when it's been vacuum packed. Obviously if you've got two hands and you're not trying to create a YouTube vlog, it's a lot easier. So as you can probably hear in the background, I've got the rice. I've just bumped it up slightly for about 1 to 2 inches away from the edge there. It's gone in the microwave for 2 minutes, ready to serve. So here we are, that's all plated up. I've just split the fish there just so you can see how well it is cooked. It's absolutely succulent. Should be a really nice meal. Looking forward to tucking in. So this has been Colin from the Wood Food Guide. Please subscribe and like. If there's any comments or any questions you want to ask, please ask away. And we'll see you in the next one. Have a great weekend. And this has been Colin's healthy, low calorie chicken curry taking night on a Friday night. Have a great weekend, everybody.